Hi guys, in this video we're going to be looking at how do we solve quadratics but dealing with word problems. So in this first word problem it says Mary wants to section off part of her backyard to build a garden. She's going to want the width to be 3 less than the length. So we're going to go ahead and write that as W is L minus 3, the length minus 3. If the area, she wants the area to be 50 square meters, and what we're trying to find is what are the dimensions. So let's go ahead and write the formula. We know that length times width is the area. So length times width gives me area. Now, because we have two variables, we're going to have to substitute one. Well, we know that the width is L minus 3. So really, instead of this W, I can write L minus 3. So what would we have? We would have L times L minus 3. So let's go from there. So I'm going to write it over here. We have L times L minus 3. If I distribute that, that would be L squared minus 3L. Now we know that this is equal to the area that we want, which in this case is 50. So I'm going to go ahead and equal that to 50. How can I get this 50 over here? Well, it's a positive 50. So if I subtract from both sides, I can get it to the left side. So now we're writing it in standard form. We have L squared minus 3L minus 50 is equal to 0. From here, we would solve how we've been solving, either with a quadratic formula or try to factor. Now, if you notice here, they're already using the quadratic formula, so this is not factorable in a way that you can end up with negative 3 as the middle term. So let's go ahead and apply the quadratic formula. A is 1, B is negative 3, and C is negative 50. So if we apply the quadratic formula, this is what it would look like. It'd be negative 3, so it's 3 plus or minus. It's all here, right? We enter it, and we end up with, it would be, hang on, it'd be 3 plus or minus, and all over 2. Okay, so there it is, and if we actually do the plus and then the minus, you get two different answers. You get the length, or it could also be negative. Well, can length be negative? No, so we're going to forget about this, and we're only going to look at this length. Our length is 8.7. Well, if we know the length is 8.72, what's the width? Well, we know that the width was the length minus 3. So if the length is 8.728, we can do 8.728 minus 3, and we get our answer to be 5.728. So the length is 5.728, and the width is 8.728, and that would be my final answer. Okay guys, let's do this example 2. In example 2, they're giving you this quadratic. It says negative 4.9 squared plus 19.6t plus 58.8. They're giving you, this is representing when you launch an object, this is the equation that you use for h is the height, t is the time in seconds, and h is the height in meters. When does this object strike the ground? Well, we're talking about the height from the floor. If you want to touch the ground, that means the height is 0. So basically, we're going to replace, instead of h, we're going to put 0 is equal to negative 4.9 t squared plus 19.6t plus 58.8. Well, of course, I'm not going to try to factor this because that'd be crazy. I have a bunch of weird decimals. So we're going to go ahead and apply the quadratic formula. So we know that A is negative 4.9, B is 19.6, and C is 58.8. I go ahead and plug it into my formula, negative b plus or minus square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. Plug it in, and we get these answers. We get negative 2, and we get 6. Now, I'm going to show you on your calculator how you can find that. If you go to the y equals button and you enter your equation, so negative 4.9 x squared plus 19.6x, and then plus 58.8, and I go to graph, your graph is going to look something like, let me zoom out, this is what it should look like. And so basically you have, I'm just going to draw a sketch here, you have a graph that looks something like this, and it's starting at 58.8. I can tell my calculator to find the zeros for me. So I basically want to know 1 0 because there's the other zeros on the negative side, and you can't have negative time. So if we use our little arrows to trace over it, and we find more or less where the 0 is. I'm going to go ahead and tell my calculator to find that. So I'm going to put second trace to calculate. I'm going to put a 0. And I'm going to say left bound, hit enter, go down below, and then put right bound, hit enter, and it gets a 0 at 60, and the other ones is at -2. But of course, we don't care about the negative because -2 seconds doesn't make any sense. So at what time will it hit the floor? It will hit the floor at 6 seconds. And that's it.